Okay guys, today's day 1, class 1. Excuse me, of our 4-part Apoxie Sculpt class. It'll be at least 4 parts. If I don't get done what I want to do in 4 weeks, then we'll just have another class. This is the way I always do things. But guess what? This one's free. You guys not paying any money for it. You may have things you can use already at home. That's great. I have no kits left. They're sold out. However, at our website, there are a lot of supplies if you want to come get. If you decide you get excited with this and you want to start doing it, you can come over and get some. Okay? Cool. So, without much ado about that, let's just talk about how you can use Apoxie Sculpt to cover metal forms, and I'll show you some examples. Okay? So what I'm going to do with this class is I'm going to say, no one's here yet, but they'll show up soon. I'm not going to answer a lot of questions or say a lot of hi's, to people until I get covered what I want to cover today, because that's the important thing. I respect the time that you put into coming to watch these whenever you do watch them. So we'll save the visiting for the end and answering questions, but we will take care of it, okay? So we'll do that. Here's Gloria. Miss Gloria's here. How you doing? So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using a lot of metal forms with Apoxie Sculpt. Now, people who use Apoxie Sculpt a lot of times they're covering metal like armatures and stuff like that to maybe make a doll or a figurine or whatever. But we're going to use metal forms to make jewelry. It's going to be pretty straightforward, and it's not going to be hard. You'll like doing it. I enjoyed it. I had so much fun last night, I didn't want to go to bed. I stayed up till about 2 last night because I was having a good time. So anyway, one of the things, though, that I did this week was, if you want to train the camera down this way. Hi, everybody. They're starting to come in. I'll just say real quick. Dara, Sherry, Gloria's here, Andrea's here, Debbie,
Joyce,
and Joyce Bailey. So, thanks for coming, guys. We're gonna visit the end, okay? So, here's what I'm gonna do today. You're used to the filigree on our website, and a lot of times, when you use it, you've either got to face it, like put 2 together, so to have a back, so it's not scratchy like, Well, you can do something really cool with Apoxie Sculpt. You can take something like this. I'm sorry about the slashes. I forgot and had my knife out cutting something, and I cut my thing up. But anyway, you can cover Apoxie Sculpt to the back and let it show through on a filigree. Now, I just use white Apoxie Sculpt. But then I use Perfect Pearls over the top because you can do that. Apoxie Sculpt is epoxy resin clay, of course, and Perfect Pearls has a resin binder in them, so they are great partners. And you can achieve some real pretty colors, mix them, use one over top the other, just use one, however you want to do it on your Apoxie Sculpt. So this is what I did here, made it really pretty. I'm going to show you a couple more how they can go. Also, for example, covering a metal form. This is the crescent blank. Those of you who come to BeastofBoutiques.com and you're familiar with what we have there, and also if you've been watching these videos and you've watched the, the assemblage videos, you know that this is a piece that's used often, okay? So what I did is I covered it with Apoxie Sculpt at the top, okay? And this is cured. This is how it is. On the back, it doesn't look real great yet, so I can do one of a couple of things. I can take some spray paint and go over the back of that, make it look pretty good. Or I could take a thin veneer of Apoxie Sculpt and go over the back and make it just all Apoxie Sculpt. Really, that's a kind of a good way to do it because people are usually not allergic to it, and it makes a nice soft backing to go against skin, because a lot of times this type of thing, going around your neck, it's on skin sometimes, so that makes it nice too. So I'm going to show you how, after I've covered this, I'm not going to really cover one, I don't think. I don't know, maybe I'll need to. I can do it. I'm going to show you how you put things on here in assemblage after it's already been covered, okay? So, anyway.
And cured.
And cured. It's just hard. It's ready to go. It's done. But not really, because, how cute is that not to? So, you got to do something with it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're going to use it for assemblage, so it will be here and there. So, I'm going to show you how to do assemblage using Apoxie Sculpt. That's cool. Also, I made a little bead. We're not going to get into too much of bead making today. This piece came loose. I'm going to have to fix it. But I use beads that I make that have this form. See, this is loose here. To make spinner pendants. Kind of based on the idea that we had with the 1928 spinners. It's kind of based on that. And we use a wire behind and over top. And then we can make a spinner out of an Apoxie Sculpt bead. Is really cool. Okay, so that's something you could. I don't think we'll get to that today, but I'll just show you. I made that last night. So we're going to do this and this for sure. And then I want to show you something else. In your kit, if you got a kit, you'll notice that you got a clamper cuff. The one with the hinge at the back, kind of like the vintage ones. In fact, you got two of them. You got a silver one and you got a gold one. And I used the silver one to make this. This is the gold one. All right. I wish the framework of it was a little wider. I'm going to see what I can do about getting a different one. But these were very economical, so, and they're plated too. But I used this form, and I made. This isn't done. I don't have all this pearls and stones in it, but I made this with it. And I don't know if you can really see it. I'm looking at there with Lauren picking it up. I don't know if you can really tell how pretty it is. Probably I need to finish putting the stones and stuff in it because I didn't have enough last night. But anyway, I covered it with Apoxie Sculpt, and then I went back and I put the stones in. Now, how do I do that over cured Apoxie Sculpt? Well, it's the same principle as what we're going to do on here. It's easy. It's just assemblage. This is just assemblage. But this is the way it comes apart. I had to plan for it, so I had to make sure that I not get any. Where's my little pointy thing? It's disappeared. Here we go. The hinge is right back here, so you have to keep it off of there so it will move freely. Okay, so it's right back there. But I took a little bit of, excuse me, perfect pearls and drifted it over this way so it would look a little bit more finished.
Yeah, I was wondering how it was still going to open, how you were going to cover that.
It's real good. You just have to plan for it. If you don't plan for it, you'll have a mess. Okay, and then the front, you got to think too. Well, I've got two parts here going together. I can't put a Apoxie Sculpt clear out to the end here and let it cure because it'll stick together. So that's no good. So what am I going to do to prevent that, So what I did was, I'll open this, and you can see this is kind of crude here. The next one I'll do will be better. But I put this little pearl here, and it's kind of propped up a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. It almost looks like it's a clasp or something.
Yeah, it's propped up a little bit. And then this one has, it's not finished back in there. And I'll take something and make it look more finished. But anyway, so then when it goes together...
When it's closed, it looks nice,
yeah,
though.
It looks like there's a pearl in the middle.
I mean, no one's really going to see it.
No,
open.
but I could make it look a little bit better than that. Like I said, I've not done this a lot, this particular cuff. So, I'm still kind of finding my way. But I'm very pleased with how it came out, really. I used the Pearl Montees. Rose Montees that are pearls, and they're all different sizes from our website. I use a lot of the little bits and silver out of the embellishment kit, but if you need more, we have a mosaic mix on the website now. We just replenished it. It has these little bits in it. I put some flowers in there, stuff. I put some upside down bead caps and stuff like that to make like settings to put more pearls in so it has some dimension. But I'm real tickled with how this came out for the first time. You have to be conscious too of when you put this on, when you go around, that you get some stuff on there because you just have a big, empty space. Like right here, I wish I'd put a little bit more on there, okay? But then this side's pretty good. This side came out pretty good. Another thing you don't want to watch too is that when you put this on, I'll just show you the wrong way, but it's hard. This is perfectly fine, but it's hard. You don't want to let your epoxy, can you see that? You don't want to let your epoxy sculpt go down over that metal form in the back.
Down here in the...
Well, you certainly don't want it to get in the hinge, but I mean, even like over here, it's lapping over a little bit.
The actual metal.
It looks messy to me, and up here it's better, but that looks messy to me. So next time I do it, I'm going to try to avoid that. Okay.
So you don't want to completely cover that.
Well, you could cover it on the inside, but you might have a problem then, and that would be with fit, because the more of this stuff you put on here,
the
less room you're going to have. So, like, if you have a real tiny wrist, or you're making one
like
for somebody with, real tiny wrist, you might want to do that on purpose, just to come aside.
A more
in fact,
tight
here,
fit.
once you put this thing on, and let's see, here, you do it.
Yeah, I have, like, a gap. Because I have tiny wrists. Mm-hmm. I don't wear bracelets a ton. Because they slide.
That would fit like a bangle bracelet. I don't think it'd come off.
But, so, I would be fine if I were to cover the whole
you would be.
Inside as well.
Yeah. But, see, I'll show you the difference. Now, I have a medium, large wrist. And this is how it fits me. So that's just about right. See, on me.
Yeah. Does she?
It looks really washed out on there. I wish it didn't, because this is so much prettier than that. But what I wanted to do was put into these cups. I thought I had still. I had some great vintage crystal chatons, big ones. And they would have been perfect on here. But I couldn't find them. So I'm going to have to buy some. So the next one I'll do will just be that much better, because that's what I would do. And then I wanted to keep it in a soft theme, because I like the pearl and the silver and stuff like that. So it's kind of a neutral color in a way, even though it's got that peach. So you don't have to do that. I just put perfect pearls over the top of it to give it some color. And you guys know how that goes, because you've been around and you've seen me do it with Epoxy Sculpt. I have about 13 videos about Epoxy Sculpt up on YouTube already, and one of them is showing how to use perfect pearl. So you might want to look for the playlist we have on Epoxy Sculpt already. It's worth your time on a lot of really good projects. And when you look at that, you'll really get the drift to get more ideas yourself. But I had a ball with this, and I even have more of a ball next time I do it. I think what I'll do is I'll make snakes out of Apoxie Sculpt. You can't do that at first because it's kind of not set up good. You got to let it get a little body first. But after it does, you can make snakes. I could put up around the top here and on the other side, and kind of build this up so it'd be wider, which I would like to see. I would like this to be wider. Meantime, I'm going to look for another one, because I think I know where they make them actually in the United States, and I can get something. But anyway, this is a fun project. We're going to work on this next week, okay? But what we are going to work on this week is how in the world can you put all this stuff on here when your base is cured. So I'm going to show you, and it's not glued on either. It's not. So I'll show you how I went about it, okay? But first, the easy part, is to use the filigree. And I put holes on here, like to make a necklace here and 3 down here. So this one probably become just that. And I might take a little brass rose or something and put them in order to be really pretty. But really, when I got looking at it, I thought, I think I'd rather make a bracelet out of it. So I've got a whole big bag of these. I've got these for the Miriam Haskell because I ordered them twice by mistake. So I had one extra. can make a bracelet out of it. Normally for a bracelet like this, you can get by with 3. Now you could do 5, but you have to make sure.
Depends on how
yeah,
big
they
your wrist is again.
don't stick out a lot. So I'm not real sure how much you can bend this to make it like with these. Okay, in raw brass, what I would do to make it fit more is I would bend it. I would manipulate it, and I would get it to fit my wrist just perfect. But
because they are a little bit bigger than your typical bracelet connector.
I don't know that I can do that. Once I put the epoxy, it would be hard to put Apoxie Sculpt on with that. So I've got this one that's finished. I don't know how much give this is going to have. There's a little, I can feel it. There's a little. But Apoxie Sculpt
you
kind
don't want to crack it either.
Yeah, no. And it will if you mess with it.
If you mess too much, it can crack.
But this will bend a little bit, but not like I would like to see. So you might have to play around with that a little bit. But there's an idea. Okay, so I'm going to start with these. And what I have to do first is I have to mix some Apoxie Sculpt. And I didn't do it because I wasn't quite sure how long I'd be talking to you. And I didn't want to waste any design time because, as you know, Apoxie Sculpt is only good for about an hour design time. And 10 minutes of that you have to let it set. So, you know, it kind of messes you up a little bit. So I'm going to get some out of here. And this is kind of a little bit, these things work better. Brand new Apoxie Sculpt, when you get it like it's brand new, it's the first time you ever open it, you can get it out of here faster. But this is not brand new. I've had it for a while because this is a pound between this. I mean, this is more of a bulk type. So I've been working with it for a while, not too long. I mean, it's not going bad. It's not getting tough or anything. It was just a little bit hard to. And basically, when you're going to mix this stuff, you really should have gloves on. But for this class, I probably won't because I want you to be able to see the best possible. So anyhow, that's what's going on here. So I just have to get it out. And then once I get it out, I need to start working with it quickly. I might have to get a metal spoon. I don't like doing that. Just to get it out of here because it's fighting me. And of course, if, whatever you use, utensils, trying to, work with your Apoxie Sculpt, you need to be sure that you get every last bit of Apoxie Sculpt off that utensil, especially like I'm using a spoon out of my kitchen.
Unless it's like disposable and you're just tossing
it
it
if it's on like something like this, could care less. But if it's something that's, part of your silverware, then you don't want that to stay. So you have to make sure you get it all off. If you do, you'll be fine. But if you don't, the spoon is going to be for using with Apoxie Sculpt forever. Like, for example, see my poker thing? I've got Apoxie Sculpt all over it. But that doesn't matter if it's got a little bit of it. That's not going to interfere with anything. So I'm just trying to get a little bit more. And I don't have my scale out here to work with either. And the reason is because I've been doing this long enough now that I usually don't need it. I can eyeball it pretty well.
Like I said, I make I do round balls and just kind of like even them out.
Yeah, well, you could do that, And if you're used to working with the stuff, you don't really need to weigh them. But if you're doing big balls of something, it might be a good idea. And if you're wondering what in the world is she talking about, I did a prequel to this whole class last week. So if you go back on my channel to the very last subject that I did, I need to get one.
Yeah, I was gonna wipe off later.
Well, I gotta do it. Then I want to get this up because I don't want it to pollute the other part. So anyhow, you go back there and all the basics about mixing it and everything else are there. And you'll see what all I'm talking about because everything is there you could possibly need. So you go back to that video and watch it. It's kind of a preliminary video for you to see how to use this stuff if you've not used it before. And like I say, this is not the first time I ever used, Apoxie Sculpt on YouTube in a video, by no means. I have, like I said, 12 or 13 videos that I've made, especially when we first started carrying this stuff. I did one all the time. I did all kinds of stuff. But I had it for a while. So, and that's a shame because I gotta tell you guys, those of you who like to work with clay, this stuff is awesome. That doesn't mean you're gonna get rid of your polymer clay and never use it again. Oh no, because there's stuff that polymer clay is a little bit better for than this, but not much. This stuff, there's more you can do with it, I think. But you are limited to a certain thing. You don't have to, just to reiterate while I'm scooping this stuff out, you don't have to bake it, for example. That's kind of cool. You don't have to worry about it burning or anything. But if you want to inlay stuff into it like this, it doesn't work for polymer. I mean, you could put it in there, it won't stay. You have to take everything out and then glue it. So you could make a mark for it, but you gotta bake it. When it's hard, then you have to glue it in. And that's a pain. This stuff, if you get a good solid seal on, you get it pushed down in there good enough, you don't have to worry about it ever being an issue for you. It's not going to come out. So, now like I say, I've had this for a while, and that's why it's fighting me a little bit to get it out of the jar. It's not bad yet. It's fine. I bought this, I think, end of last year. So, I think the bigger jars are probably good for a little bit longer than normally, but the little ones like you got for your kits.
Which are?
I didn't bring one here.
1/4 pound.
Yeah, the 1/4 pound ones you got for your kids. You got a blue one and a red one and a super white. Those I think, well, the shelf life is a little bit longer. It's a little bit shorter. That's what I want to say. So let's see how these two compare. And what I like to do also is I like to get just a hair more of this, which is the hardener. You know how 2-part resin has like an A part and a B part? The B part is the hardener. This is what makes it set up and get hard. Well, that's what this is.
The gray.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry if it gets little crusts on it or gets a little discoloration or something. It doesn't mean anything. It does not mean anything. It doesn't mean it's bad. If you're not quite sure, take a little bit out and mix it with a color and let it set, let it roll in a ball and set it to the side and see what happens. Does it start setting up? If it does, you're fine. If it doesn't, maybe you got a problem. But that is not, I've had any number of people get Apoxie Sculpt from me and they're looking at it and says, it's going bad, this and that. Blah, blah. Well, to be nice, I send them another one. I have them send it back. I send them another one, on my dime. And I don't know what it looks like in there because I don't open the packages. They're sealed shut, so I don't know if they open it. Oh, it's like that too, your stuff's all bad. I said, no, it's not. But if you're not comfortable with it, then I understand, send it back, but you'll need to find another product because this is what this stuff does. This is normal. So anyway, so I'm taking my white and I'm making a little ball of it. Then I can compare these real well one to the other. You probably saw me do that last week in a little prequel session we had. So you want to get it the same, but I like to get a little bit more of this stuff because a little bit more hardener makes it set up a little bit more quicker. Now you might say, yeah, but you have a short working time with that. Why would I want it to, it just gives it more body. There's just a little more you can do with it when it has a little bit more body. If you just mix it part to part, sometimes it stays sticky a little too long. And that's a problem too, So I like to see it start firming up. And actually, I think once I mix these together, they'll be good to go, to be honest. I don't think I'll have to do anything like that. So let me see how big this ball is. Do I need to add to it or what? Of course, the surefire thing is to get the little scale and weigh it. But if you get to the place where you've worked with it enough and you think you can eyeball it, then yeah, I think we're about right. Yeah, I think we're about right. I think I might have a little bit more on here, so I'm just gonna pinch a little bit, just a little bit off of this here, and put it in this bowl and add it in. So just have a tad bit more. But yeah, these are about the same size. So you can measure them too.
With like calipers or something?
Yeah, but the best thing to do is weigh it. That's what's going to tell you the truth, you know. So yeah, I think we're good now. I think we're real good now. This part is still good. Nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to open my jar.